We'd like to thank you for joining us this week as we've been putting some miles on the 2015 Volvo S60 T5 Drive-E. Now this is the four-door sedan from the Sweden company that's long been known for its safety and a lot of the features that it brings in as part of its value. Along with the headlights flowing back into the body lines, we're going to see that we've got some power side mirrors here that automatically fold down when the car is put into park. We've got the color match trim on the door handles and a little bit of bling around the windows. Now we happen to also be rolling on the 17-inch wheels, but there are options to go all the way up to 19s if that's what you're interested in. Going under the hood of our 2015 Volvo S60, we're going to see that we've got a couple of different engine options that are available, including a diesel. Now our model happens to be equipped with a 2.0 liter turbocharged direct injected engine that's going to produce 240 horsepower, and it's going to be backed by the 8-speed automatic transmission. Now this engine does use the start-stop technology, which is going to contribute to the fuel economy. Now this thing is rated for 25 in the city, 37 out on the highway, and 29 overall combined. Now for our use, we got 36 out on the highway several times, never quite got to the 37, and our overall average was 28.5 according to the onboard computer. So looking around the interior of our 2015 Volvo S60, we're going to see a really nice almost a three-tone color scheme. We've got some soft touch material here, easy to grip with some chrome or brushed aluminum trim that goes around it. Got a nice door latch here. Really like the switch layout here, primarily because of the side view mirror controls. They're raised up. It's very easy if you're not even looking. Once you've kind of got used to it, you can slide your hand over here and just simply push the right, left, and make the adjustment all in one motion without actually having to look at it. So it's real easy to find and do. Now over here we're also going to find on the lower part of the dash, we've got some additional controls for the headlights, the fuel filler cap release, the trunk release, electronic parking brake. And then we're going to come up here and look at our gauge package, which is a little different setup. We've got a nice large speedometer right in the middle. It says we can do 160, but I'm not so sure about that. But we don't have any place to try it out. We've got our fuel filler gauge and our gear shift indicator over on the right-hand side. Now this is where we're going to also see that we've got our sport mode. If we drop it down and kick it over, it actually lets us know in a couple of different places, make some changes in the tach that sits beside the speedometer, just to add to the driver experience. We've got several different settings we can also set this on, and that's controlled from the turn switch lever. We can change, from miles per hour to kilometers to our average fuel economy, real-time fuel economy, several different settings depending on what the driver's looking for. Now we're going to come on back to the steering wheel, and we're going to see that we've got some additional thumb controls here. This is for our cruise control. Not only the settings, but also the adaptive cruise on it, so that it can keep us from getting too close to somebody. It'll slow us down, and then when the traffic's cleared out, it'll speed us back up to our original settings. Now on this side of it, we're going to see that we've got some audio controls as well as our voice activated system here. Coming on over to the center stack, we're going to see we've got our screen here, that we've got several different choices to work with as far as what we want to do and how it's controlled. Now one of the things that's really cool, we've got the Harman Kardon audio system upgrade. So whenever we get ready to crank the stereo up, it will fill the cab of this thing up very nicely. The nav system works really well. It's got a couple of different controls on it. If we go into the nav system, of course we've got the voice activated, but if we're wanting to set an address for a destination, there's a couple of different ways to do it. If you're having trouble with the voice activation, it's not understanding or it's not registering, then obviously you can do it from the center console. But you can also use this scroll switch right here on the steering wheel. It'll scroll down to whichever section you're looking for, such as set destination, a simple push on that same wheel, and it brings it over to the addressing. That way you can do the same thing, just scroll down to where you want to go and put the information in. And if you need to put in an address, for example, the way you can do it is, for example, street address, it brings it up, and you do the same thing. You use the scroll switch here to roll around to spell out enough of the address so that it figures out what you're looking for. So coming on down, we're going to see some nice trim, some nice finished brushed metal finish that goes around our center stack here. And this is where we're going to see our menu for our media system, radio, the climate control. Several different features are all built into right here. Now, one of the interesting aspects they've got built in addition to this touchpad that's much like a telephone keypad, is this man. I'm really not sure what a good name of it for. A pictoman, I believe is what they call it. But basically, this is where you want your air. You want your climate controls running your air to the top. You got cold feet because it's winter. You push it down here, and the air is directed down the bottom. Now, of course, the temperatures are all right here. Nice, large knobs that we can control. And this is also where we're going to control the heated seats. Now, our shifter for our 8-speed automatic is right here. And again, we've got a sport mode that we can pull it over and into. Nice leather boot on it. And coming on back, we're going to see we've got some nice non-skid material here as it pulls back for hiding our drink holders, as well as a 12-volt power supply. This is kind of awkward for the driver because if you've got a couple of drinks right here, then you got to reach over, reach around to pull this out. So I think it's probably more for the passenger. Coming on back, we're going to see we've got some deep storage right here. It's got a USB port in it, as well as just some deep storage. Then also down here, before we leave this area of the car, we're going to see we've got a pass-through right here behind the center stack. It's a nice place to, if you've got your phone or a cord or an MP3 player, you can just set it right in there and it'll be out of the way. Then going on around, we're going to see we've got a nice large glove box here. It opens wide. It's easy to put stuff in it. And again, a better shot of the color scheme on the door panels as well as storage. Now, the seats in our Volvo T60, they're leather. A lot of manufacturers have gone to a leather-like material, as they often call it. But this is real leather. Got a nice pattern in it, the way it's put together. And it's got some bolstering here on the sides, and particularly on the side panels that are really deep. They're deeper than what you might normally find in a car like this, but this is part of the sport package. One of the luxury touches on the interior of the S60 is the frameless rear view mirror. It just looks a little bit nicer to have just the mirror there. We've got a compass that's built into it. And then we've got our controls up here on the top on our overhead for our lighting, as well as our panoramic sunroof. This is a little bit better view of the pass-through area behind the center stack. Kind of a floating design, gives you a place to put your phones, put your MP3 players. Got a little recess down there to keep it from sliding around, just for a few of those things that you might need when you're out on the road. Going into the rear passenger space, we're going to see we've got the same basic designs and color schemes. We've got soft storage here behind the driver's seats. We've got a 12-volt power outlet at the back of the front console. And we've got the same pattern and bolstering, not quite as defined as what's on the front seats, but still very sporty looking. In addition, we've got a center armrest that will fold down, provides with a couple of drink holders, as well as a little bit of storage, and it has a padded top. This also is going to give us access to a pass-through if we've got some long skinny items we need to put in the back. Now, this seat is a 60-40 configuration that will fold down. The releases are in the back, they're in the trunk, but once you've got that done, you can either push them down from the trunk area or even from right here. Seats fold down, open up quite nicely for a lot of cargo space. Put them back in place, simply pull them up, lock them down, and it's back and we're ready to go. Looking at the trunk area of our S60, we're going to see we've got several features built in here as well. Now, this is where we're going to see that we've got some cargo tie downs, and we've also got this lift up feature, so we can kind of put grocery bags or something else behind this that we don't want flying around, as well as we've got an elastic strap here that we can use to tie a few things down as well. Now, down below that is where we're going to find our emergency roadside kit. We don't have a spare tire, but we've got an inflator here that'll get us to where we need to go. Also back here is where we're going to see that this is where the 60/40 seat release is. Now it can be either side, right or left. Simply pull on it and it releases the front seat. Now in theory that means this should fold down just like that. And we have access to put longer items and more cargo in.
We'd like to thank you for joining us this week as we've been putting some miles on the 2015 Volvo S60 T5. Now this is the mid-sized luxury sedan from the team at Volvo that's going to provide space for 5 passengers. Now along with the contemporary sport styling of the vehicle, we've got a 2.0 liter turbocharged engine under the hood, and it's backed by an 8-speed automatic. Now if you get a chance to drive one of these nice vehicles, we highly recommend it. We'd like to thank you again for joining us. This is Michael Mars reminding you, travel safe.